settings, you can plan to protect yourself from natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon. Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more with gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Walk On Weekly with your hosts, Nebraska men's basketball players Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III. This is Walk On Weekly.
All right, welcome back into Weeknights. I'm Harrison Arns here with Sam Hoiberg, Jeff Grace III, and Rick Mast, all from the Nebraska basketball team on the Walk On Weekly. And again, you guys want to join in on the show, in the text line 402-464-5685, and we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as Allo Channel 951. Pay attention to this. We are switching over to the Royals at about 6:30. So if you want to watch the stream and carry on with the show, be sure to hop on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and that'll be a great way to hang on the show for you guys. Sam, your headphones not working for you?
They're a little loud.
For you? Follow your cord to that box right there, and then you'll be able to turn it down for you as we're getting all set up here. But plenty of things to talk about. We had the NBA draft trades going on, as well as just college hoops in general. Sam Hoiberg, where do you want to start, man? Probably with your guest, I'd imagine.
He's all right. Welcome to Lincoln Rink. Welcome to the show. Me and Jeff are very happy to have you.
No doubt about it.
The viewers, this is Rink Mast, big man from the Netherlands. We're really excited about him.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. You tried to get me on like 2 times the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's been kind of crazy. A lot of stuff going on, but yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt about it. Any things you'd like to share with the viewers out there? Like anything about yourself?
Anything about myself? No, just a big man.
It's true.
I'm ready to play in the Big Ten and kind of see how I match up against the other big dudes in there.
And for all those listening, Rink is from the Netherlands. So I'm kind of curious, talking about your game, where you grew up from. Was there a significant transition? Like just looking at college hoops in general, being in the Netherlands, what was that route for you? I know it's a little different from all those European players. Everything doesn't always work out the same. But what was that first sign that, hey, you're pretty good at basketball, I can go D1? And what does that path look like coming from the Netherlands?
Yeah, well, from everybody from Europe, you have different routes. For me specifically, when I was younger, I was already pretty tall, so I always played with age groups up. So when I was like 14, I was playing with dudes that were like 18, 19 or something. And then when I was like 16, I got to practice with my hometown pro team, which is pretty cool. And those are like all guys that have gone through college and had a pro career. And I got to practice with them. And then later on in the season, I got to play a couple games, like start some games. And then at 17 years old, I was kind of the starter on that team with a bunch of other guys. Actually, 2 guys that also played at Nebraska before.
Okay.
Jason Durso and Lance Jeter.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
So I played with those 2 guys and like kind of playing with them and being able to compete and do pretty well at that level already showed me that, hey, I'm pretty good at this. maybe have a shot at playing D1 over in the States.
Absolutely. And I do want to dive back into that later, but just talking to Jeff Grace III, Sam Hoiberg, what was your guys' first impressions
of Rink?
Yeah. His skill set, what you see in his game.
Yeah, that's a big question because I was his host. a lot of first impressions of Rink. But as his game, I love it. I mean, I kind of just describe it as he's your very typical European big man when you think about it. He's not the most athletic. He knows that. It's not going to be offending to him.
I don't try to.
Yeah, but really good passer, really good shooter. He would shoot it 5% better from three if his hands didn't get so sweaty.
Hey, I must try those sweatbands out on my wrist.
Yeah, we were talking about ways to stop that, so he stops giving me passes when the ball's wet.
Yeah, he's been hitting on me for every time I hand the ball off to him. He's like, "Damn!"
Yeah, I tried to shoot the ball today, coming off of a handoff, and it literally almost hit my face because it slipped. Didn't airball it though. That was good. But yeah, I mean, really plays super hard. You can tell we're not even playing live stuff right now, but he's the only 5 that's available right now. So he's doing every single rep at full speed, and that's something that I admire as a player that wants to try to play hard all the time. And yeah, I think he's going to be huge for us.
Absolutely. Jeff Grace third. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, Rink definitely a very gifted player. Just not alone like his specialties on the court, but like just his voice in general. He's very vocal, and it helps us out a lot. Like people on the floor, like just getting in the right position, and like also just like knowing what play we're running. That's helped a lot. And also just like his IQ, and also like work on the perimeter, like being spaced and like being able to catch and shoot. Kind of, it'll be very interesting. I'm very excited to see how this works. I'm very excited to get going, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to kind of tie back into your time with the Netherlands because it talks about being vocal. You're talking about how you're going to have to play some of these older players depending on your skill level, and you end up playing against guys that were older, bigger, taller than you. Do you give credit to that, kind of giving you that leadership that you had to find playing up against those bigger guys and that growing naturally, or where did that leadership vocalness come from?
Well, from playing with older guys, you kind of have to follow. They have the experience, and you kind of like see how they do it. And I picked up a lot in that way. And then as you go through college, like I've done 4 years of college, if you come in as a freshman, and then you kind of have to listen to the older guys. But once you become like a junior and a senior, and you play a lot of minutes, you have to be able to take a freshman on the wing and show them kind of how it's done and how you work hard, put in the effort, like during practice, but also outside of practice, taking care of your body. And I feel like especially the older veterans that I played with before, and then some of the coaches that I've worked with, definitely emphasized that aspect of trying to help other players too. So that's just kind of what I'm trying to do now here too.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of curious about the European ball, and we talk about this a lot in the NBA. There's a foreign almost takeover. You see it with Giannis, Luka, Jokic, another one. I don't know if there's a right answer to this, but is there something that you guys are doing over in Europe that is just, I don't know if it's guys in the U.S. going AAU, it's a lot of individual stuff, but it seems like the European guys, they plug and play pretty seamlessly, and they're very good with ball movement. They got the small things right, is what I'm trying to say.
I think kind of what we do differently than here in the States is that we, from a young age, we have everybody playing every position, and we're more focused on skill work rather than like competing. And
so you're going like 1 through 5 skill work?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then not like competing and trying to win games at a young age already. Like some of my, like when I was like 12, 13, 14, the teams that I played on, we didn't win like that many games at all during the season. But we did the right things. We worked on the right skill work. And then we played a whole bunch of different styles of play. And then in practice, we kind of went over like how different teams play. And we watched film from like EuroLeague teams. And so in that way, you kind of learn a lot about like just how to play the game of basketball. And with that, it's a lot easier to plug and play in a whole bunch of different systems.
Yeah, because I feel like I see that a lot with European players. Like they do the simple things right. Even like you throw in Ginobili, and there's just tons of guys that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just the style of the AAU, where it's a lot of individuality, trying to put yourself up there as a possible D1 prospect for scholarships. But I'll ask you guys. You guys are actually D1 basketball players. I'm just pushing one forward. But do you see anything, or am I just talking in the air here? Just between the difference between European style in the U.S. and that there may be some benefits to how they do it over in Europe.
So for AAU, it's definitely you see a lot of like 1v1 stuff like that because me and Sam played AAU together, and it's definitely like as Ring said, you can tell like it's a different like game change over there. Here they really focus on like getting points and stats and like trying to get to the D1 level. So I would say like yes, there is something different over there in Europe rather than here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it. I think working on those fundamentals at a young age is huge. And me and Jeff were really fortunate we got with the program that really emphasized that stuff, like ball movement. Like my teams on AU growing up were always kind of complimented for our ball movement, just for our age. And then we brought that into me and Jeff started playing together in 8th grade, and we already had those fundamentals down a little bit. But when we played with that team, we really focused on them. We had great ball movement, and that's why we were so successful. We didn't have anyone with actual D1 scholarship out of high school, partly because we didn't have a junior AU season, but we beat some of the best teams in the country just because we played the right way and they stuck to that kind of one-on-one style. And I think, like Jeff said, a lot of people get caught up in the stats and the just trying to look good for the scouts, but it's just so like, especially now, like I think that kind of showed off when I started playing is like my just knowledge of the game
Yeah.
pays off a lot. As I'm obviously not as gifted in height as some in athletic, some of those other guys, and I can still be a force just based on my knowledge of the game.
Yeah, it shows a lot too. And the thing is, always going to talk about you is those steals, but it's just having the headspace in the game to understand that's going to be there just based on the way that guy's looking. Small things like that. Is that common when you're doing travel ball that you're just seeing a ton of ISO plays? Is it like predominantly the offense?
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of depends on like the team you play on and like the culture around it because like you can tell like the one-on-one teams like when you play them, and then like the teams that like actually like know what they're doing and like how to play together. So it definitely depends on where you come from and also the team you're brought into.
Yeah, I always do wonder because, and then Rick, you can even chime on this. We've talked about it before. Me and Jeff Grace there were talking about it, I believe, a couple weeks ago. The face of the NBA, it almost feels like it has to be a foreign player now because you can't lean into. I mean, we'll see what Zion and John Moran do, but I mean, I look at Nikola Jokic and Giannis and Luka as the real threats for being the face of the league. Rink, you got a favorite foreign NBA player by chance?
Yeah, from those guys that you mentioned, I really like watching Jokic because I feel like our games are somewhat similar in aspects. And then just Luka, when he played in Europe, I already watched him a little bit, like growing up.
Oh, what was that like? Because I know he had a cult following. People were already aware of him. And you guys can help me. Who's that NBA player that tipped us off early? That this guy, I think it was Dragic, Goran Dragic. I think might have tipped him off
they're
early.
from the same country.
Yep. But yeah, so what was that like? Just kind of hearing about this Luka Doncic and then realizing that it is this true. He's that kind of generational player.
Well, you got to realize that he at like 16, 17 was I think at 17 he was playing significant minutes for Real Madrid, which is like other than the NBA, they have the EuroLeague, and Real Madrid is like one of the best teams in the EuroLeague these last couple of years. Like they have some up and down years, but they've had some very good years, and he was playing significant minutes on like one of the best teams outside of the NBA at that age. Like that's very, very impressive.
Did he ever win it with Real Madrid?
Yeah, he won it the year before he got drafted. He won it and got the like Finals MVP for the EuroLeague.
Man, I don't even remember that.
That's wild.
That's incredible.
I don't want to knock you Americans, but I was mad he did not go number 1 overall because, like, Victor Wembanyama is like the best prospect ever, but like Luka was up there. You just didn't realize it because he wasn't 7'5".
Yeah, you're right. If you just looked at the tape and the stats, it was pretty obvious something was there.
Yeah,
because even pretty early on, he took over. Right, it was pretty clear that he knew what he was doing. He's played pro, and we see that a lot. I'm curious to see how these G League guys are going to turn out, like your Scoot Hendersons, if that's the way to go. Because I feel like that's what those foreign players do better is they get that professional reps earlier, and then over here in the U.S., it's that college level. It's so weird because D1 coaches now, it's almost like you don't want that one and done guy because the best teams seem to have players like Kansas where they stick around for 4 years. UCLA, they stick around for 4 years. I mean, do you guys see the NBA just as a whole changing with how, like, or not even the NBA, just how players in the U.S. are going to start heading into basketball, whether more players go to the G League, less players are going to college? What do you guys see for the future?
I could definitely see like the top prospects doing more G League route or just other routes in general, just to get those pro reps. And NIL is going to make a difference for sure, which will kind of level that out because I think a lot of people could make a lot more in NIL than they could in like a G League. I don't know. I don't really know what the G League contracts are like though.
Yeah, now they do that.
But
If it's a two-way, it's good. If it's just only G League, it's pretty bad.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I don't know if like those prospects get more money. I wouldn't assume they would because they're only going to be there for a year.
I feel like the prospects that go to like G League Ignite, I've seen numbers like 500,000 float around.
Yeah, those are good numbers, and that's pretty similar to what they would probably get in NIL at this stage coming in as like say a projected top 5 pick. But I could see people doing that route because teams are leaning on the transfer portal now, obviously, with so many seniors leaving. And I think that it's going to be harder for them to, like, I don't know, honestly, because then I think about Brandon Miller, and he just killed it.
Yeah, without him.
So I don't really know, honestly.
I would say it honestly depends on the team, like that the team like needs what position like they kind of need. So like for me, like for Portland, like picking up Scoot, I feel like it's gonna be interesting playing alongside of Dame.
You think they moved Dame? Do you think that's the move on that?
I don't think they're gonna move Dame.
Really? Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I think Dame's on the way out.
Really?
I do too.
I think that's the plan. I don't think you get a guy like that unless you're looking to move Dame, because then you still got Anthony Simons as well.
It's true.
To be fair, who else were they going to pick in that situation, though, to not be, like, ridiculed? They'd have to trade that pick if they were trying to get something to play with Dame.
I think, I feel like with this draft, I feel like they were, based on what was going to get picked in front of them, I feel like they had a pretty good idea with Charlotte. I just felt like this has kind of always been in the back pocket. I don't know what you can do with Dame anymore. You can write out his career and kind of give him the Kobe Bryant, thank you for everything, and spend a lot of money and not win games, or you can move on because he's kind of getting to that point of his career.
It is true. I hear it.
What were his stats last year? Because I think he still puts up like.
Yeah, he was still highly efficient. Let me pull him up here. He's still close.
But like he also did get injured a good amount during the season.
But for perspective, we're talking about whether the G League is going to take over. And we do there was 4 players from the G League drafted, and out of the Power Fives, it actually didn't do too bad. It tied with the Big 12, Pac-12 for 4 players drafted. Right there kind of tells you G League do better than a couple of Power Fives. SEC was first with 9 players drafted, Big 10 second with 8 players, and ACC third with 5 players drafted. Pretty surprised for the Big 10. I didn't expect them to get as many as 8, but no surprise. Were you guys surprised at all to see SEC get the most players drafted?
I didn't know the SEC well enough to know how many they would get.
Well, I would say they most of the time have a lot of athletic players in there, and I feel like right now that's kind of what the NBA always has been looking for, just athletic players with high upside. That's what you draft early. You draft for upside, and then as you get later on in the draft, get more experienced older players.
Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. For Damian Lillard, Rink brought up that he's still playing, and you could consider it maybe the prime of his game, later part of his prime. Field goal percentage last season, still shot 46%. Keep in mind, shooting a lot of threes, shot 37% from the three-point line, so not bad there. And then I don't know what happened, just lost it there for a second. 91% from the free throw line, about 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and then about 1 steal, and 3 turnovers, averaging 32.2 points per game. It's a lot better than I thought.
I did not know that.
No,
but he plays 8 games, so that's the injury. So
then you got to ask yourself, like, okay, do we want him to keep him as a veteran because he can show the ropes to these young guys that we're bringing in, and then hopefully in that way he's gonna, in like 2 or 3 years, we can build a team around him,
like Chris Paul and SGA situation,
or we want to trade him away because he's going to be valuable for some team that's trying to make a push for the championship. I don't think Portland is ready to make a push yet because other than Dame, they don't have players that have been at that spot, and you need experience.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely going to be a team that is willing to give up a lot to get Dame at this point.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they kind of reinvest in their future, and they try to get as much for Dame.
They already have a pretty good young core.
Yeah.
And like I really like Anthony Simons.
He's nice.
And then you got Scoot, and that's a good start.
They got to figure out Jurkic yet.
Yeah.
He's been just not great for him.
Maybe you could do a three-way trade type deal with Nurkic and Dame, do something with that, and then I think you get a bunch of picks, and then maybe another good young player to bring in.
Yeah, absolutely. Damian Lillard, I think he's going to be the guy talked about, I think, by far the most in terms of these hypothetical trades. I think a team like the Lakers probably be desperate to get a guy like Dame. I think that's another big one.
Why do we always mention the Lakers in these?
Because they just make splash moves all the time. Well, I shouldn't say the Lakers make splash moves. LeBron teams make splash moves. That's why the Lakers come up a lot. You got LeBron on the roster. I think that no one's safe. I think that's pretty well understood at this point. Yeah, lay GM for real. It's he's got a track record, to say the least. But we better throw it to break here. This is the Walk On Weekly. We got special guest Rankin Maston here, as well Jeff Grace III, Sam Hoiberg, the host as always. We'll catch you guys on the other side on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Keep summer green with Judson Bylene and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, Judson Irrigation started taking in orphans. Lawn sprinkler systems installed by a quickie, cheapy summer job, install them and forget them outfit, long forgotten. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Ready to spend more time on the links? Better sell that business first. Trans World Business Advisors of Lincoln has over 450,000 active buyers in our database. We can confidentially find that perfect person. 402-413-1095.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It reversed an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend and myself. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It's actually really easy to get and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Quick question. Where does the term dog pile? I've never seen a pile of dogs in my life. I've never seen that. If we've ever seen just driving down the road and someone's like, there's 12 dogs on top of each other. So where does dog pile from?
Well, that's a good
and that is a standard.
That's a good question.
If you say dog pile to anyone, they know it. It's not dog pile. Never seen a pile of dogs. Never in my life.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on the paper ceiling. The limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them, ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Judson
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that, options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
I feel like sometimes when we have Hall of Fames, and this is no disrespect to Frank or Gary Pinkel, who got in last year, the longtime Missouri coach. Shouldn't there be a Hall of Fame for like Gary Pinkel
Like
and
the Hall of
Tom Osborne
the
and Bob,
Hall of
you know,
really,
Bobby
really,
Bowden?
really, really, really
Yeah,
good.
right. But what, like you said, the distinction usually is first ballot, you know,
Yep.
or unanimous or whatever. So that's usually kind of the distinction that you can make there.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video on my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Was anybody in the building when Dick Vitale was in the building when I think we played the number 3 Kansas Jayhawks in Devaney and we upset them? Was anybody in the building when Dickie V was it's a PT Pierce, baby! Look at the diaper dandies! That was amazing.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to Walk On Weekly. Here are your hosts, Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the Walk On Weekly. I am Harrison Arns, pushing the ones and twos. We have the host, Jeff Grace III, and Sam Hoiberg here as always, and special guest, Rink Mass, joining us, going all the way up until 7 o'clock. Then we'll have a replay on StreamYard, and then again, if you guys want to continue, we have We Talk Facts with Eric Strickland and Cluster Johnson. That will go from 8 to 9 p.m., so plenty of ticket weeknights ahead for you. But we left last conversation. We talked about the Dame trade. Just a lot of crazy stuff going on in the NBA in general right now. I haven't asked you guys this. Maybe talk to Jeff a little bit about this, but I'm curious what your thoughts are, Sam. Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are really negative about it right now. That's just what I've seen in like comment sections and on Twitter. But I'm kind of viewing it as like he's a good backup to have for Steph, obviously, and then he's just another guy that's going to find those dudes shots because he's such a good passer, and then he can score a little bit too. I mean, he's obviously coming off those injuries, so we'll see what level he's playing at. But I could see him being a great guy to have in like an accepted role, which I think he'll do at this stage of his career and just try to get wins.
Mm-hmm. Do you see him starting along Chris or Steph Curry, or do you think backing him up?
I would assume he's going to back him up, but I could also potentially see him starting with him.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be a nice like playoff
for
card.
sure.
Like to have Chris Paul in your back pocket for the playoffs, keep him healthy. You don't have to play him as much because you got Steph Curry on the court. Obviously, Jordan Poole on the move into the Wizards. That'll be interesting. What do you think about the trade?
Casey is so happy about that. I don't even know if I texted about it.
Why?
Oh my god, he absolutely hated Jordan Poole this playoffs.
Why? Does he have a good
Did
reason?
you see the way he played?
You talking about the
He was terrible. I mean, it was everything.
Terrible
Like,
shot selection going on.
Yeah, it's terrible shot. Like, he was very inefficient. And Casey, every time he got in the game, he would text me and say, "Get Poole out of the effing game."
I did not know Casey Damananga was not a fan of Jordan Poole.
Oh, not at all.
To be fair, there wasn't a lot of Warriors fans either.
No.
Through that playoffs, I think people got it felt like he was trying to come in to be Steph Curry.
Yeah.
At times, it almost felt
Because
like
he did
was
it
forcing
last
too
year. He
much.
was so good last year.
Mhm.
Basically, was that like when Steph wasn't doing anything, it was Jordan Poole, and then this year he was trying to do it and didn't really work out for him.
Just tried to do too much at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Kind of got to him, all the media and everything. I feel like got in his head.
Can't remember what playoff series that was, but he hucked the 30-footer and he could have just took one dribble wide open.
That was Lakers.
Lakers,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, Lakers, I still think Lakers were probably the second best team in the Western Conference, but nonetheless.
After the trade deadline, for sure.
Yes, after the trade. They were not good before then. And that'll be interesting with the new tax apron coming up, and it actually won't really kick in until 2 years. But Rink Mass, what do you think? Chris Paul and the Warriors, you think that works out for him, changes their fortune in the future to possibly taking or stopping the Denver Nuggets?
I don't think they're going to stop the Denver Nuggets, but I kind of agree with what Sam said. I think he's a good piece to be a role player for them. I think he can definitely help them at certain times. You don't expect him at this point in his career that you bring him in and he's going to be awesome. Like, he's not going to be the same as what he was like 5-6 years ago. But you bring him in, he accepts his role as a role player. He can get those guys shots. I don't hate the trade. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I actually liked it for the Warriors. I was never a big fan on Jordan Poole, especially with the contract he had.
Yeah, I agree.
You're paying a lot of money for a guy that's got to get together quick. You get a guy like Chris Paul. I also am biased. I've always been a CP3 fan, just because every roster he's been to, it gets dramatically better.
Man, that Lob City was fun to watch.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan still has the best alley of all time. I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes, 100%.
On
Crawford?
Jennings,
Is it the
Oh,
one
it might have been Jennings
that he threw in?
Yeah,
I think it was
threw
Brandon
in.
Jennings.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, which was crazy because at the time it was Blake Griffin, and everyone was like, "Oh, they got two."
Yeah, that was so much fun.
That's one thing that the Nuggets I think are so fun to watch because Jokic, what he's able to do, those simple touch passes, even though it doesn't end up in a yam all the time. He had one in the playoffs for the finals. He just flipped it to Gordon. Gordon behind his head just puts it in.
Yeah, that was sweet.
You said Jokic is one of your favorite players to watch. What about his game is so appealing to you? Is it the playmaking?
He makes the simple pass look easy, if you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying. So when you know basketball, you know the situations that you get in and that you got to read the game pretty quickly. And he does it with such effortless, like he makes it look like it's easy. He can, like the way Denver runs their plays and sets him up in positions where he can either shoot a little floater, his touch is amazing, or just find one of his teammates open. And he always makes this like the simple play. That's what I love.
It's like
about
he
him.
never misses a read.
Exactly.
He sees it all.
Like we're human. You're gonna mess up, but like, he rarely does.
Oh, even on bad passes, I noticed he's got like an uncanny, like first touch. Like you notice a lot when he plays, he always tips it on bad passes. He always gets that tip on it every time it's a bad pass. Normally, especially in the NBA, that's turnover 2 points the other way. He gets those all the time. Just a simple little tip to himself.
There was one play in the finals where he like kind of like mishandled at the dribble, and then there was like two Heat players right there, and he's like tapping his way through traffic, gets it back, and just flips it up and puts it in. Like it was almost like he meant to do it. He's just so good at tipping it to where he knows those guys won't be. Like.
Another thing that's like special about Jokic is like what I've noticed is like even if you like try to speed him up and like try to make him go fast, he's always putting his pace. And it's like really impressive to do because as basketball players going up and down the court, like it's very hard with like the change of pace and everything. But like when you play at your own pace, like that's an easy dub for you. Like you can't be stopped at that point. Like it's very hard to stop you.
And speaking of his pace, like he can run the floor too. That's what surprised me. Like, yeah, absolutely, he controls the pace, but he can get that pace going. Not a guy you'd expect.
You don't have to be fast to run the floor.
No,
you just have to run hard.
He proved that.
Yeah,
and especially with his passing ability, that's stressful. If he's bringing the ball down the court into fast break and he's got the ball in his hands, you got Aaron Gordon who's probably cutting to the rim. You got Michael Porter Jr. You're just not Jamal Murray's right behind him. Who knows if it doesn't work out? You're looking at arguably the best pick and roll all year. That's why if I'm an NBA defense, I'm terrified. No one figured that out. The Miami 2-3 defense is weird that it took so long to figure out, but Denver Nuggets did eventually kind of break into it, turned into lower scoring games, but they did enough. In the NBA, I'm just going to ask you guys know more about basketball than I do. How would you possibly stop the Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray pick and roll? Because that is what they're going to do from here on out until someone stops it. And if you get this right, then there's an NBA office that's looking to hire you.
Yeah. Me personally, I kind of like kind of the way Toronto is doing it, where they just get a bunch of really big and athletic guys and they switch it. I would say switch it. And then if Jokic somehow gets the ball, you might want to try and, I don't know, get a double team on him with some big guys and then try and see if you can deflect the pass, however hard that is, and then hopefully rotate out of that.
Yeah,
That's
I
like the
don't think-
only way I could see. Because if you do like if you ice the ball or hard show it or whatever, like he's gonna pick you apart.
I don't think you can double Jokic though.
It's got to be a perfect double. He's going to
it has
finish
be
with a left or right.
perfect every time. That's
I
the
know.
one thing about doubling him.
It's
is he's gonna
it's
find a
hard,
read.
but that's the only like you got to force it out of his hands. It's kind of the way we do it with like on the catch. Like if he doesn't have that much time to see it, hopefully about like 1 every 4 he throws away. That's kind of all you can hope for.
It's a big hope.
Yeah.
For me, I play a lot of 2K, so in the pick your own situation, like with them two, I play really hard defense. Honestly, just guard them straight up. Know that they're gonna score, but then on offense, get it back, keep going. Like just accept it at that point.
Outscore them.
Just keep going.
Well, hey,
back and forth.
Speaking of outscoring them, Phoenix Suns. I'm not even kidding. I think that's their game plan.
I
DP,
100% agree.
That's their
DP
game plan for
likes the
every
Bradley
game
Beal.
next year.
I know, but they got Bradley Beal now instead of Chris Paul. They're going to double down on outscoring people.
They have an off night. They're not winning.
I might be underestimating Bradley Beal. We talked about it on Sunday. I'm not super high on what it's going to look like just defensively. And if any of those guys has like an off night, I just don't know. Your defense is going to be so porous. And then you're still sitting there with Ayton. Who's backing up Ayton?
They still on the bench.
No.
At the end of the day,
They're still looking at Cameron Payne to answer a lot of their problems. What do you guys see from the Phoenix Suns? The Western Conference, we can dive into the Eastern one on the later segment, dive into Porzingis on the Celtics. But yeah, that one's
That's
a
an
big one.
interesting one.
But with the Suns, does this work for them? Do you see them entering the Western Conference Finals? And if so, good enough to get to the finals, assuming they beat probably the Warriors, see what the Lakers do, or Denver Nuggets?
That's a tough one because to get there, you got to beat out 2 other teams. I don't
Mhm.
right now. If Denver can keep their core together, I don't see the Suns beating Denver. And then you got to look at what are the other teams that they have to beat out? You have to beat the Lakers. You have to beat the Warriors.
Mhm.
I kind of like the Grizzlies as long as they can.
Yeah, Marcus
manage
Smart's a nice addition,
things
too.
with Ja because they added Marcus Smart. I still see them being very good if they can keep Ja under control.
Mm-hmm. And only 25 game suspension.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
They'll still make the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Ready to go.
That's gonna go back fast.
And they're really good without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go back on that one because at one point in time I was thinking all the way up until All-Star break, and then I realized like Miles Bridges had a domestic assault case with family, and he only got 30 games.
He's gonna be back next year, right?
Should be, yes.
That'll be
Yes,
interesting.
he'll be back. I'm almost positive. I'll look it up, but I'm like 99% positive he'll be back next year. We got about a couple more minutes here. Let's go ahead and dive into the East now since the last segment's short. So Kristaps Porzingis to the Boston Celtics. That one, 3-way trade. That's how Marcus Smart also ended up on the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you guys think about that one? I like the trade a lot. I felt like the Celtics had to do something. You've been to the conference finals in the East 3 years in a row now, and you can't break through. You lose to the 8th seed in 7 games because you can't beat a 2-3 zone. They had to change it up. Do you guys like the addition, though?
I like it a lot, especially with keeping Al Horford.
Yeah.
And having a Robert Williams come off the bench. Great addition. It's gonna help them a lot. Like with just like not Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Obviously, they're gonna be scoring most of the points. But at the end of the day, like you have other weapons and other threats for the defense to guard. So it's gonna help them a lot. Space the floor. Having a big man also who can also rebound and stuff like that. So I feel like it's gonna be great for them. But I mean, the East is definitely still gonna be difficult to win because you still have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah,
let's come back healthy again. So
76ers, if it ever happens for them, that
Yeah.
team's just an anomaly on why they can't figure it out. I feel like in the East, that's one of the things you have to be big because in the East, you're probably looking at the Bucks or 76ers a lot of the years.
Heat weren't that big.
No, Heat weren't that big, but they're also the A seed. And if you wrote them, I'll give you credit for it. But I wasn't counting on them playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Neither was I.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I wasn't either. But
Yeah,
they did
not
make
at
the
all.
finals. So
Yeah, very impressive run.
I just still can't. I can't get over how big of an anomaly that was. They lose their first game in double digits to the Hawks. They only beat the Bulls for about 3 minutes left, and they finally come back. And then they go on this crazy run, and then they didn't sweep the Bucks. What was it, 3-1 or 4-1 series? I believe it was
Yeah.
4-1 series. Yeah. They take it all the way there. And that team was 28th overall in offense coming in.
Mhm.
Just insane.
I would say like one series I can see happen, but that they won 3 in the East, that was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's
Like
been a
one
lot of teams
upset
like that.
happened. One upset can happen, but like 3 in a row, that's crazy.
Yeah. Do you guys think Giannis was fully healthy when he came back?
No.
Wonder
I
how
don't
that
think so.
changed. I mean, they still lost 4-1. That's the
Yeah.
hard thing. Trying to think of unexpected teams. Pelicans are another one where they got to figure. I don't think they're going to move Zion around. I think he's staying there. But they
The
they
sex
just
tapes might drop though.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, he's got to be careful on that one. The social media around Zion Williamson, again, we won't go into all the details, but it takes like one Google search to figure out what kind of trouble Zion Williamson's in. Not a situation any man would ever hope to be in. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break here. Again, this is the Walk On Weekly. We got Jeff Grace III, Sam Hoiberg, host as always, and special guest Rink Mast here with us. We'll be back on the Walk On Weekly right here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the vote. So please, when I tell you that the Lottery Lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports car, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.20 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you booked in comfort and safety. We get all makes models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Steve's Garage Door Services hiring. Garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
This Easter, just family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in-house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8 and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Spring Sports are here and it's time to upgrade equipment. But don't go rush into your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment. Baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new product, great discounts, by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery lotto games offer big and big fun, keep your mind dry. Do not start thinking about all you could buy if you win.
Back to Walk On Weekly. Here are your hosts, Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III on 93.7 and the TicketFM.com.
All right, welcome back into the Walk On Weekly. I am Harrison Arns here with Jeff Grace III, Sam Hoiberg, as always, and special guest Rink Mast here on Ticket Weeknights. And again, we'll have an open slot on the next hour. So from 7 to 8, we will run a replay of the happy hour. And then from 8 to 9, we will have We Talk Facts, WTF with Cluster Johnson and Adam Strickland. So great show. Those guys have great things to talk about. Again, go to ticketfm.com to catch any of the podcasts you missed. But nonetheless, we'll keep the show going here. We got about 7 minutes. And we've been talking about the NBA here. We talked about the Celtics getting Kristaps Porzingis. I want to ask you guys this question because we always talk about the favorites. Then we have the Miami Heat. Are there any teams, we'll call them league pass teams, where you got to buy, they're not going to be on national television. You're going to have to buy certain ways to watch them. Is there any teams that might sneak us in this upcoming season that kind of like your Miami Heats that you don't necessarily expect to creep up into the playoff scenario?
I'll just put this out there. I'll be watching the Spurs this year.
I was going to say that. I'm definitely watching the Spurs.
Because my brother works for them, and then now they got Wemby.
Yep.
I'm watching every game.
We haven't even talked about Victor yet.
Yeah,
we had the NBA
waiting.
draft. And
for me, that answer would be probably OKC. I like what
Yeah, they got a
doing
good,
there.
really good.
With Chet back too.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
They could be sneaky.
yeah, Chet versus Victor.
For me,
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
I like Orlando Magic because I like watching Bobo play.
I was just gonna say
You're Bobo guy.
Such a good time.
I was literally just gonna say, what are you guys' thoughts on people memeing on Victor? Like people are saying, like we've never seen a player like Victor, and then they'll be like, this guy semicolon. It's just like highlights of Bobo. Do you guys agree with that?
Somewhat.
You mean like
I can
comparisons
see
to
it.
Victor?
Yeah, people are saying like there's never been a player like Victor Wembanyama, and then people are arguing that
There's been guys.
Bull.
You got to go back in time, like 1983 first round pick Ralph Sampson to the Houston Rockets.
No, but like the way that they move, Wemby and Bobo are very similar in how they move. Like the size, yes, you've seen guys that are that tall,
Mhm.
but the way that Wemby moves is like people say it's never been seen, and then they compare it to how Bobo moves. I would say they move very similar,
Mhm.
but I kind of like Wemby's game better in just everything that he brings to the table. I think Bobo is still very limited in what he can do. Even though he has a great skill set, I think Wemby is further along in developing his skill set.
He's also got that European fundamental part of his game. I don't know if Bobo has as high of an IQ, which is huge in terms of like development, first of all, and also just like how good you can be.
Yeah, in the
in
NBA,
general.
your minutes will get eaten up quick.
Yeah.
If you're taking bad shots.
And I haven't watched a lot of Bobo. You Have you seen him?
I've watched
Does he have a
amount.
pretty good IQ?
Some games are better than the others, I would
Yeah.
say. But I mean, he's exciting player to watch because I've watched them all throughout like high school. So like for me, like I've been a fan, but I could see like for as Rink said, like moving wise, yes, but like Wemby does bring more to the table. But their skill set is kind of unique because they can both dribble the ball and like be on like the perimeter, which is kind of cool for like a stretch five.
Would you consider their playmaking equal? Who's got the edge?
Wemby.
Wemby?
Yeah.
Ball handling?
I'd say they're tied.
Tied there? Really? You took Bull? I got to watch more Bull.
Yeah.
He kind of came up and then I forgot about him because there's that song.
He never really had an opportunity, so it's kind of like hard to like watch him play. But like when like last year, he had some like really good highlights of like him playing with Orlando.
He had some good
Magic.
games.
Yeah.
I'd say the thing that held Bull back was all the injuries.
Yeah.
And what I like about Wemby is, from what I've seen so far, is that he's very professional, is taking care of his body. If you're that tall, it's very hard on your body. But I like what I see so far from him for like taking care of his body and making sure he like stays healthy and doesn't get injured. Because the one thing I see him like how he is not going to have a great season or even a great career is if he gets injured a lot.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, he's going to be really, really good.
Do you put weight on a guy like Victor?
It's hard.
A little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I kept hearing after the draft, everyone kept talking about putting weight on him, but I feel like that just drives your injury risk up when you're that tall and you're carrying around that much weight. I mean, yeah, you want to add muscle mass, but you go too far over, I feel like that can be a negative downside.
It has worked for him so far. Obviously, the NBA is going to be more physical.
Yep.
But so you're going to need a little bit more muscle. But like you said, like if you have the weight on your knees and your ankles and your feet, if you're that tall, it's like it's hard. It's hard. You got to find the right balance. And so far, what he's done so far has worked for him.
Yeah, I think you were talking about he's taking it very seriously. I know he's had the same trainer since he was 13, and it's every day they do their stretches. I can't remember how long the stretches are, but he's very serious about that, which is good because that's how you get the LeBron James careers. You take care of that stuff early on, and then you don't stop doing it. So what about you guys' expectations? I have my own on Victor Wembanyama, how he's going to do his first season with his frame, his shooting, everything else. What are you guys seeing for him on his first season with the San Antonio Spurs?
I think there's definitely high hopes. I like him a lot, especially how he carries himself. Just like how people like talk about him, like growing up and stuff like that. Like Rudy Gobert, for example, he's called him, like they used to like work out together and stuff like that. So I like his approach and how he's like pursuing to the next level of like, as you said, like stretching every day with his trainer and everything. He's definitely has high expectations because being a number 1 overall pick and being that tall, obviously like he's going to get a lot of fame because of it. But I feel like he blocks out the noise, which is really important because you don't want to get distracted by the outside and let that like be your focus going on moving forward. So I think it's going to go really well. A lot better than what people think because of injury, but I feel like down the road, like it's gonna be hard to maintain that for a little bit. Like I don't feel like he'll play like the whole season, obviously, but I do feel like he'll play a good amount of season more than what people would expect.
And he is playing in the summer league, right? So we'll get a sneak peek there.
Games.
Yeah. Sam, what about you? First year.
Well, I want to hear Jeff give a stat line.
Oh, okay.
Put some numbers to it.
Like the whole stat line?
Yep.
Just points, rebounds, assists, blocks. We'll go with that.
So for his first year, I want to say for points, he'd be averaging about, I like 25.
Wow.
I like 20.
You're high on him. Okay.
You got to think about the teams he'll be playing. Like not everyone's going to have a 7-footer to guard him.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, if he gets the rebound, he can just put it right back up. The only thing like is going to be hard probably at the beginning is just going up and down the court for adjusting the pace kind of. His rebound percentage, I want to say it will probably be like, I want to say 8.
Yeah, that's kind of where his size, I don't know if he's going to be able to snag double doubles.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's physical enough.
It'd be
for
definitely
that.
tough.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one?
Assists
and
blocks.
Yeah.
Assists and
blocks
blocks
would be a good one.
Assist, I want to say he will have, I haven't watched him too much, but I feel like has a good IQ. So I'm gonna go with about like 6 assists.
Okay. And let's go rapid fire here because we're getting to the end of the hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it will be anywhere from like 19 through 22 range for points. I think that'd be a good year for him. Anywhere in the 20s would be really good. 8 or 9 boards. I see 4 or 5 assists and then 2.5 blocks.
I'll get to the stats. I think that he will need 1 or 2 seasons to adjust to the league. I definitely see him make an all rookie team. I don't think he's going to be rookie of the year though. I think he's going to need a little bit of time. But I'll give him some good stats. I'll give him like 18, like 7 and 4.
That's okay. Me and Rink agree. I'm on that same. You can't just be tall anymore in the league.
That's true.
Also in France, the 3-point line's closer up, and he's not that good of a 3-point shooter to begin with. That's going to back up about 4 feet. Bigger, you just can't be big anymore. He's got narrow hips, kind of like the Chet thing. When you watch him in France, he does get knocked around pretty easily yet. That's only going to get worse in the NBA. So I'm right where at him. I was going to give him 17 points. We'll go 8 boards and then give him 4 assists. And you know what? He'll probably be good. 1.7 blocks. He'll probably be fine there. I mean, he's going to get blocks regardless with that frame.
My counter argument to the points going down from what he's averaging now is that, like Lucas said, it's a lot easier to score in the U.S.
More spacing.
And I was talking to Rink about it. Like his league that he's in is like 22 points per game is like averaging 22 points per game in college.
Yeah,
in relative
probably
like terms, which 22 in college is probably like 30 in NBA terms. Like there's not many guys that average that many points.
Yeah, with the spacing and like you just have 8 more minutes of
Yep.
gameplay. That's probably pretty accurate.
So I could definitely see him being a 20-point scorer with that new spacing, and
yeah,
he's going to get a lot of looks.
And with
that
the system he's in, with like Greg Popovich.
That's true. You can't underrate the system. That's a right place, right situation.
And Jack Hoiberg.
Yeah,
Jack
shout out
Hoiberg.
Jack Hoiberg.
Running the ones and twos over there.
It's definitely gonna be very interesting to watch. He's like I'm gonna be tuning into the Spurs quite a bit. He's gonna be special, I think.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page there. As far as expectations, I think we're all hoping for him to hit his ceiling. Whether it takes 1 or 2 years, that's where we kind of split up a little bit. But nonetheless, hope he stays healthy. I'm tired of seeing these Zion hurt, Chet hurt every time. It just keeps happening over and over
It's
again.
annoying. Can we finally have a little bit of like somebody that does well?
Yeah,
right
let's
from the
get
start?
some momentum going.
Exactly.
Like LeBron James when he entered the league. Just came in with the shockwave. But nonetheless, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been the Walk On Weekly with special guest Rink Mast, host Jeff Grace III, Sam Hoiberg, as always. We will see you guys next week on Tuesday, and enjoy the rest of your night.